Hello everyone and welcome to our educational video today about SIM swap scams. In today's video, we're going to cover what a SIM swap scam is, warning signs that you may be a victim of a SIM swap attack, and some tips to prevent such an attack. This scam is a bit complex, so I'm going to do my best to break it down for you. We do have two sources today, the FTC and the Avast Academy website, both of which are linked at the bottom of the video's description. As per usual, they're informative resources and I definitely recommend visiting and exploring them on your own to further familiarize yourself with today's topic. So let's get started. To begin, what is a SIM swap scam? Most of us rely heavily on our cell phones these days for checking email, online banking, posting on social media, communicating with loved ones, friends, and business colleagues, and even running a business. Each of our cell phones has a SIM card with a unique identifier that helps your service provider, meaning Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, etc., send phone calls and text messages to the intended recipient's mobile device. This means that for many of us, our cell phones and the SIM cards within them hold the keys to our kingdom, and scammers are very aware of this. So, on the most basic level, a SIM swap scam is one in which scammers call a victim's cell phone service provider, for example, T-Mobile or Verizon, and then proceed to trick that service provider into switching the victim's cell phone service to another SIM card, a SIM card already in the possession of the scammer. Scammers pretend to be the victim, giving the story that their phone was physically lost, stolen, or damaged. Then the scammer asks the phone provider to activate a new SIM card, but still connected to the original phone number, but on a new phone, a phone owned and controlled by the scammer. So the phone number stays, but the SIM card is new and is inside a phone controlled by the scammer. These scammers also know that in order to prove their identity to the cell phone service provider, they'll have to provide some sensitive personal information about the victim. This sensitive info is usually gained by the scammers through phishing attempts, online research about their potential victims, using information sometimes freely shared on social media by the victim, or potentially purchased from data brokers or on the dark web. If the phone service provider believes the story and activates the new SIM card, the scammer will then receive all the victim's texts, calls, and data on the new phone. Basically, this allows the scammers to hijack the victim's phone number. According to Avast Academy, the main aim of SIM swapping is actually to exploit two-factor authentication in order to gain fraudulent access to the victim's bank accounts. How is this possible? Because they can now log into your accounts that use text messages as a form of multi-factor or two-factor authentication. They're able to get a text message with the verification code they'll need to log into your account, the victim's account. If the victim has two-factor authentication set up, then the victim's phone number is the one receiving the text message and code to unlock the account, the phone number that the scammers now have control of. Just a quick reminder, what is multi-factor authentication? Multi-factor, sometimes called two-factor authentication, which sometimes is also shortened to MFA or 2FA. MFA can provide extra account protection by requiring two or more credentials to log in. A password functions as your first credential, and then you'll need a second credential. This could be something you have, like a passcode via text message, a security key, etc., or something you are, a scan of your fingerprint, retina, or face. So, to bring it back to the SIM swapping scenario, say you have two-factor set up on your online bank account, and you've chosen to receive a text or SMS message as your second factor. A scammer has already successfully swapped your SIM and has control of your phone number and sees all your text messages. So they go into your email or online bank account, for example, and click on Forgot Your Password or Reset Your Password. when the security system of that website or app kicks in and indicates that it has to send a text message to the phone number on file to verify your identity, that's your second factor, the scammer is going to be the one who's receiving the text message, meaning they can do exactly what you're supposed to do next. Enter in that code sent in the text message and gain access to your bank account, and probably drain it and spend all your money. So total, there's about 12 steps to this scam. We're going to review them quickly because I know it's a lot of information to take in. So here we go. I wrote them down. It's a little hard to read, but we're just going to review. Step 1. The scammer calls a victim's cell phone service provider. Step 2. The scammer pretends to be the victim, claiming a lost or stolen phone. Step 3. Scammer asks to activate a new SIM card for the phone number, the same phone number. Step 4. Scammer proves their identity with phished sensitive information about the victim. Step 5. Cell phone service provider believes the story. And step 6. Service provider activates the new SIM card, which is in the scammer's possession. Step 7. The scammer then receives all the victim's texts, calls, etc. through the new SIM card. Step 8, the scammer goes into the victim's online bank account and clicks on Forgot Password. Step 9, the bank website sends a code via text to the victim's number on file to verify identity. Step 10, scammer receives victim's code through the new SIM card using the victim's phone number. Step 11, scammer inputs code to victim's banking website and gains access to bank accounts. And step 12, scammer changes victim's banking password and drains account. Takes all the money. SIM swapping scams have been around for a while, and there's been another uptick in reported cases in the latter half of 2023. So what should you be on the lookout for to prevent this scam from happening to you? So here are some signs that you might be a victim of a SIM swap attack. Number 1, your cell phone suddenly stops working. You can't make calls or send texts. According to the FTC, you may also receive an unexpected notification from your cellular provider that your SIM card has been activated on a new device. However, if you're not set up to receive notifications like this from your provider, you may not receive any such notification. You may just completely lose cell service, texts, data, etc. Number 2, you're notified of activity elsewhere. If you start getting emails about suspicious activity on your accounts, it could be a SIM swap hack happening. Keep an eye out for notifications of any unusual account activity. Number 3, you're suddenly unable to access your accounts. According to Avast Academy, SIM card hackers will often immediately change the passwords of their victims' accounts to block them from having access anymore. Some accounts also automatically block access after too many questionable login attempts. Therefore, losing access is a signal that someone has or has attempted to compromise your accounts. You should take immediate action to secure those accounts. And number 4, you notice unauthorized transactions. If you get notified about transactions you didn't make, it could be due to SIM swapping. If this happens, you need to dispute the unauthorized charges, secure your financial accounts, and regain control of your phone number as soon as possible. Avast Academy has steps listed on their website for anyone who feels they might have been a victim of SIM swapping. Their website is linked in the video's description. I recommend checking that out and familiarizing yourself with the basic process, just in case you ever find yourself in that situation. So what can you do to try and prevent SIM swap scams? I have a couple tips here for you. Number 1, don't reply to calls, emails, or text messages that request personal information from you. I've said this before and it bears repeating again. Legitimate institutions will never call you or email you and request your private details. Scammers may pose as a bank, service provider, or even the government to trick you into handing over login credentials, social security numbers, or account information. If you receive a request for your account information, end the conversation, and then reach out to the company using a phone number or website you know is real. Tip number 2, limit the personal information you share online. Avoid posting your full name, address, birth date, and phone number. According to Avast Academy, SIM scammers cyberstalk their targets before they begin an attack. So anything you post online can be used by scammers and hackers to build a profile and be able to answer the questions your service provider may ask to identify you. Tip number 3, the FTC recommends setting up a PIN or password on your cellular account. This could help protect your account from any unauthorized changes. Check your provider's website for info on how to do this. If someone tries to SIM swap you, they'll need your PIN first, no matter what other details they might have gleaned about you from your social media. Tip number 4, set up bank and mobile carrier alerts. You can request notification emails or text messages alerting you to any changes to your bank or cell carrier accounts. This can act as an early warning system to help you detect and prevent SIM swapping and other fraudulent activity before any damage is done. And tip number 5, on accounts with sensitive personal or financial information, consider using biometric authentication, such as Face ID, an authentication app such as Google Authenticator, or a security key like YubiKey. An authenticator app cannot be transferred to other devices and is protected by an extra layer of security, such as a PIN or a biometric factor. A security key like YubiKey offers hardware authentication factors that are not linked to your SIM card or phone number at all. Instead, it's a real separate device that you plug into your phone and which has a button you press to generate a unique identifier. More and more, authenticator apps and security keys are being pushed by those in the tech security industry as being more safe and secure than simple MFA or 2FA. But still, setting up and taking advantage of MFA is better than just a plain password. And make sure you're not reusing passwords and making them complex. Okay, thank you for watching. I know I just threw out a lot of information at you. Thank you all. Okay, goodbye.